Hey, have you noticed something kind of weird happening on the internet lately? It feels like the most interesting conversations, the most insightful people, they're just gone, right? Well, it's not your imagination. The smartest people really are going quiet, retreating into the shadows. So let's get into why this is happening and what it means for, well, the future of everything online. This quote, it's pretty chilling. It's from a science fiction novel called The Dark Forest. And the whole idea is that in a dangerous universe, the absolute safest thing you can do is stay silent. Because to be seen is to risk being destroyed. And weirdly enough, this has become the perfect metaphor for our internet today. But it wasn't supposed to be this way. For decades, we were sold the exact opposite idea. The global village, the digital town square. The dream was that if everyone had a voice, the best ideas would naturally float to the top and we'd all become more connected and understanding. So where did that beautiful dream go wrong? Well, that promise pretty much shattered against reality. Two big pressures started this whole breakdown. First, something called context collapse. That's where a joke you meant for your five best friends is suddenly seen by your boss, your grandma, and some future employer. Your entire audience just gets flattened into one big, scary room. And second, the performance trap. Social media stopped being a place to talk to people and became a stage to perform for an algorithm. The only way to get seen was to be louder, more extreme, more controversial. And that just drove all the thoughtful people away. Okay, so if those social pressures started a kind of slow, quiet retreat from the public web, the arrival of new, non-human predators in the forest has turned it into a full-on, panicked evacuation. And these new predators, they're called AI scrapers. Just think of them as automated bots that tech companies have unleashed to crawl every single public corner of the internet. And their mission is simple: to harvest every single thing you've ever written, drawn, or posted, and use it all as raw material, as training data, to build artificial intelligence. And this, right here, gets to the heart of this new predatory internet. That really personal blog post you poured your heart into 10 years ago, that brilliant comment you left yesterday, that piece of art you were so proud to share, it's not part of a conversation anymore. It's just been mined, commodified, and fed into a machine. All without your permission, without any credit. It's all just fuel. So this brings us to a really critical question. I mean, if your most original thoughts, your most creative works, are immediately hoovered up and used to train a machine that can basically copy your style, why on earth would you ever share them in public again? For a lot of people, the answer is you just wouldn't. And this is where the feedback loop from hell kicks in. Humans pull back because their stuff is getting scraped. So to fill that empty space, AIs generate a ton of new, soulless content. And then other AIs come along and scrape that AI-generated content. This is the core of what people are calling the dead internet theory. The idea that the public web is just becoming this bizarre, empty wasteland of bots talking to other bots. But here's the thing. Humans are incredibly adaptable. We're not just logging off for good, we're changing our whole strategy. This new survival tactic is what we're calling the Dark Forest Protocol, and it's basically building a whole new internet, but this time in the shadows. So instead of that big public town square, the really interesting conversations are now happening in these new digital sanctuaries. We're talking about private, invite-only Discord servers, tiny newsletters where you actually know who's reading, and of course, encrypted group chats on WhatsApp and Signal. These are the new dark forests. And when you put them side by side, the contrast is just wow. The ClearNet, the public web, is a low-trust space where you're always performing for an algorithm. But in the dark forest, trust is high because you're actually talking to people you know. And here's the key. It's shielded from those AI scrapers. It's a deliberate return to real, high-quality, high-trust communication. So, if this is the new reality, what are you supposed to do about it? Well, protecting yourself in this environment isn't about being paranoid. It's just about smart digital hygiene. Honestly, it's becoming a necessary survival skill. So here are a few strategies people are using. First, reclaim a little bit of anonymity. Use handles and usernames that aren't directly tied to your real legal name. Second, start using ephemeral platforms. Places where your messages and posts actually disappear. This stops a casual thought today from becoming a permanent liability tomorrow. And finally, you can adopt a burner philosophy. Create different online identities for different activities, so it's harder for data brokers to stitch together a complete profile of who you are. But here's the downside.
While this big retreat into the shadows protects us as individuals, it comes at a huge cost for society as a whole. There's a real price to pay when everyone decides to hide in the forest.
First and foremost, the experts are gone. I mean, think about it. When the scientists, the artists, the engineers, the deep thinkers, when they all leave the public square, what's left? You're left with a low-trust wasteland filled with bots, extremists, and people trying to sell you crypto. And this next one might be just as tragic. Serendipity is dead. You remember that magic of the early web, right? Of just stumbling upon a brilliant idea, a fascinating person, or a life-changing article totally by accident? That's gone. In the dark forest, you can only discover things from the people you already know. Which leaves us with this one final, lingering question. We all retreat to the dark forest to protect our own little flame from the predators and the noise. But if everyone does this, if all the brightest minds hide their fires, how will we ever find each other in the dark?